I've noticed that some people entering into the carnivore diet slash lifestyle for the first time, uh, somehow they get the notion that they need to do a lot of research. And I'm not saying research is bad in regards to what's going to happen to you. But my observation is that some people take it to a whole new level and then almost feel compelled that they need to be an expert, that feeling of being an expert of knowledge before they even start. They'll compare all of the experts in the field, all the data. They'll read lots of comments. And I'm not saying all of this stuff is bad. The contrary, it's probably good. But my point is when it starts interfering with the actual start of the process, waking up, deciding that you're going to start today, and making yourself some meat. Hi, my name is Luke, Captain Carnivore. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please like and subscribe and all that cool stuff. So what I'm talking about today is people feeling compelled to really go deep dives on the detailed information about the lifestyle and the diet. And like I mentioned earlier, it's not that that's a bad thing. But if it hinders you actually beginning the process, me personally, I look at that as being going about it possibly the wrong way. My backstory, in a nutshell, is I had heard on a podcast Dr. Ken Berry. He was not the host; he was the guest, and this was years ago. And he was talking about this carnivore lifestyle, this carnivore diet. And, they were talking about keto and all that kind of thing, a paleo diet, whatever. And he quickly mentioned that on carnivore, most people just consume beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, the BBBE, so to speak. And that resonated with me immediately because those are my 4 favorite food groups. And it was shortly thereafter, after I had convinced myself through his incredible knowledge about what he was talking about, was that this was the path for me, or at least I was going to give it a fair shake. So shortly thereafter, within a day or 2 or 3, it's been 3 years now, so I can't really remember that detail. But shortly thereafter, I started. And then also shortly thereafter, I did the immediate research to find out what was going to happen to my body right off the bat, because you hear the horror stories about the keto flu, the body transitioning into a different mode of processing food and all this kind of thing. And for the most part, it's all true, and it's not designed to be a pleasurable experience, but it is something that happens. It's something that normally all of us have to go through, and sometimes it lasts for a couple of days, sometimes it may last for a couple of weeks. I don't know. For me, it lasted about, 7 or 8, 10 days, something like that. A week and a half at most. So after that, it was more of learning what my routine was. So getting back to the topic of feeling like you need to know all the ins and outs, all of the small details of the biology, all the acceptable recipes and all of these things. I understand that there's a lot of people out there that may require that in order for them to even make a decision on whether they're going to do something. But on the other hand, if this level of deep dive research goes on for a long time, I mean, let's face it, it can go on forever. This is not a shallow topic. It's a simple form of eating, but my goodness, there's obviously we have influencers online, doctors and whatnot, that are spending, and myself included for that matter, spending a lot of time talking about it, and can go on forever about all the details behind it. Do you need to know all the details? In my humble opinion, no, you don't. And part of the success of the whole system, the whole lifestyle, is simplicity. The word simple, keeping it simple. It doesn't get any simpler than just eating a meat-based diet or an animal-based diet. Include some eggs in there too, which I do. And the great thing about eating a simple regimen, a simple diet, is that, like I've said before, it turns into routine. And what does routine give you? It gives you sustainability. After you get past the hurdle of the initial impact that you're going to bring to your body from changing from whatever you were eating before. Let's assume that it's not a healthy meat-based diet. Let's assume that it's a carb-rich, a sugar-rich, processed sugar, fruits and vegetables, and all of that stuff. Let's assume you're coming from that and you're going into this new way of eating. Your body is going to give you some signals and some feedback that you need to be aware of. If I was going to do any kind of a deep dive research into this lifestyle, that's where I would start and probably end. I mean, let's face it. All of the positive things that have happened to me, the lack of inflammation, which was a huge one, no more stomach problems. I essentially quit drinking alcohol, and I attribute probably 100% of my success to being carnivore for a little over a year before I even did that. Problems with skin issues on my legs, eczema and the scratching and all that kind of thing. And there's even much more than that. There's the brain fog, which I've talked about in the past. It's not a bad thing to know all this stuff, but when you start experiencing these things, these impacts on your body's either giving you signals that I've got pain, or if your body's been giving you signals that you've had pain all your damn life and all of a sudden it ain't there, it's kind of fun to do a little research on it at that point and go, hey, what just happened? And you'll learn that it's simple inflammation. It's simple. Biologically, it's incredibly complex. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even interested. I'll be honest with you. I don't even care. All the details about all the 12-syllable words that are thrown out there, I don't have any clue about what any of it means. I'm a results individual. Take that for what it is, good or bad. But when it comes down to the details, I don't worry about the dietary fluctuation in recipes and do I add a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Hey, listen, I started off floundering around trying to find out what was going to work best for me. And as time went on, and I'm talking weeks and months, and I'm not talking like in a weekend, I finally started to dial in what worked for me, what my body required, what it didn't require. And essentially, and I'm not talking like, what level of carbs can I consume and that kind of thing. I'm talking about like just the sheer volume of food do I require? What do I need for the weight and the structure, the body structure that I am? And believe me, I am no dietary person. I'm not even a doctor. I'm just some guy on YouTube. So I'm just giving my personal experience. And as time went on, I dialed in what worked best for me. It took a long time. Some people might be able to figure it out in a weekend. It took me a long time. It took me months. The point is, once I got it dialed in, it's not that I don't stray off of my routine. I just don't veer very far off the path. I rarely leave the path. I just swerve from one side to the other. I don't drive right down the middle of the road. I stay in the center lane of the road of eating carnivore about 95% of the time. And that's pretty dang good from my perspective. So what do? I eat hamburger patties. I make them myself. I actually have a way of grinding my own meat. I just haven't done it for a long, long time. So I just buy hamburger in bulk and then press them into patties, throw them in the freezer. And that's a lot of what I eat. most of the time. Occasionally, I'll bring out some eggs and bacon. I mean, that's just common sense. And lots of butter and some smoked salt. That's my go-to. That's my simple routine. That's what I found out what works best for me. And it works best on a lot of different levels. It works best for simplicity. Remember, simple, routine, sustainable. It's simple, easy to prepare, simple to store, readily available, relatively inexpensive, and that's always a negotiable thing, but it all depends on where you are and how much you buy and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, it's relatively inexpensive compared to other cuts of meat. And believe me, I'm not opposed to other cuts of meat, but I am unable to sustain my lifestyle eating $20 a pound steaks every day. I do occasionally indulge in steaks. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but we're talking about sustainability. So when I've incorporated eating my meat-based diet, which is primarily hamburger, I eat it in several different forms. I personally like to make it into a burger patty. It makes my life simple. It makes the cleanup easy. It makes the whole process simple, which then makes it incredibly routine-oriented. I know exactly what I'm going to eat. I know how I'm going to prepare it. I don't need any special recipes. A child could do it if they could run a stove without burning themselves. And as time goes on, I have come to realize that I'm not eating no carnivore diet. I'm eating a carnivore lifestyle. I've turned my diet, my way of eating, into my lifestyle, which means that I have completely changed how I operate my life. It's like making a major decision in your life that's going to change how you do things in a major way. If I'm going to alter something in my life that has such a small impact, I wouldn't necessarily classify that as a lifestyle change. I would just say that's a small alteration in your routine that you probably absorb very easily. But when you completely change the kind of food that you eat every single day than what you have been eating, that is a lifestyle change. And that's where I believe a lot of people struggle with as time goes on. They take this carnivore challenge. They take the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, whatever it is. And believe me, I'm all in on that. I'm not contradicting that line of thinking. But if you intend on taking on a new way of eating and you don't eventually get to the point of realizing that it needs to be routine and sustainable, then you're on a temporary path. And I don't see any meaningful diet that is going to be sustainable if it's not able to be incorporated into your routine, your daily routine, something that you do every single day. So take that for what it is. Guys, this is Luke, Captain Carnivore. Hey, listen, I've talked about this before. The world is an absolutely crazy place. What I encourage people to do is to, number one, take care of themselves, take care of your immediate family, and take care of your neighbors. All these things are super important. Matter of fact, they're of paramount importance. But just as important is to focus your available time that you have to yourself. We're all on borrowed time here. And focus on the things that you have influence on and control over. These are really big aspects with me. If you spend your life force, which means your time and your energy, dumping it into things that you have no influence over and you have no control over, I could easily make the argument that you're wasting your time. And believe me, we all waste time. I waste time. That's not a big secret. I mitigate it to an incredible level to where I feel good about myself, about the things that I do that are meaningful to me, meaningful to my wife, meaningful to my kids, my family, my neighbors, everything. I'm productive in one form or another. I don't have to be producing something. I can just be productive, create positive memories, create relationships, So my ending statement is, for heaven's sakes, mitigate the time that you spend having any focus on things that you don't influence and you don't have control over. Bring it full circle. Bring your life force around. Put it into something that's producing and productive. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me. This is Luke, Captain Carnivore. Please like and subscribe and all that cool stuff. We'll catch you on the next one.